Hey everyone, Juan here, and I'm about to release a docu-series. This is a 4-part series. I hope you guys enjoy it. In the past, in past videos, I've talked about my family. I've never shown my family. And you're going to hear from all my brothers and sisters, their side of the story, what life was like in Mexico, what life was like when we crossed the border, what life was like when we worked in the garlic fields. You're going to hear directly from them. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Now, when I first did this 4 years ago, I wanted to get footage of what life was like picking garlic in the Central Valley. I've shared that story in the past, that as a 9-year-old, I started working in the Central Valley fields out of necessity. My parents were immigrants. We came from Mexico. They didn't have a whole lot of money listen, there was 8 of us in our family plus our parents. And so we kind of knew growing up that we all needed to work and do our part. My brothers and sisters had multiple jobs. And at age 9, I not only worked in the fields, I also had a newspaper route. So I started working early on in life because we had to. Like a lot of families out there, we're not unique to any of this. 4 years ago, I take my cameraman and we go to the Central Valley to get footage of what life was like working in the fields. While I was up there, this was completely unplanned. My brothers and sisters still lived in that area. Then one by one, we started asking them, hey, can you tell us what life was like in Mexico? Can you tell us what life was like crossing the border and coming to the US? And we started creating this documentary. It wasn't even planned. And so what we're gonna bring you now is the following videos. What I took away from this was, I'm the 6th child. There was a lot of stories and there was a lot of life before I was born, and there was a lot of things that had happened that I was unaware about that my family never talked about. I learned, growing up when you're a boy, you look up to your dad, and a lot of the things, I would always give my dad credit for everything. My dad brought us to the US. My dad did this. And I watched the video and I heard the other side from my sisters. And it was my mom that was really the driver in a lot of the decisions. It was my mom who wanted to bring us to the US. It was my mom who told our father, it's time to buy a house and not in that neighborhood. In that neighborhood, our kids might get into gangs. They might get into trouble if we're in that neighborhood. It was my mom that was the leader behind it. And I didn't know this. The worst part, both of my parents have since passed. I find this out during these videos. And yeah, it makes you sad. It makes you sad that you can't give your mother credit for the things that you were kind of giving your father credit for. And so this video is a tribute to my mother, my father, my brothers and sisters who were, they set an excellent example. The only reason I'm releasing these videos, because we've had them for 4 years. We've watched them as a family. I've made my daughters watch it because a lot of times people will ask me, hey Juan, well, how do you pass on this passion, this motivation, this hard work, this person, this drive that you have? How do you pass that on to your kids? And the only way that I could do it was by making them watch this video, which they've watched several times. And so my brother contacted me and he said, hey, did you know that this October 14, 2024 is our 40-year anniversary since we came to the US, since our life changed forever? And I said, I didn't know that, but if it's been 40 years, I'm going to do something special. I'm going to do something unique, and I'm going to release those videos. I got permission from all my siblings to make sure that they were okay with it. And again, 4-part series. I hope you guys enjoy. Send me your comments. I appreciate you guys being part of our community. I appreciate you guys reaching out and choosing to work with me here at Sage Real Estate. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Everyone in my family, as long as I've known, has worked hard. I was 9 when we started working in the garlic fields. When we were picking garlic, I remember us waking up at 5 in the morning, having breakfast, getting into the Ford Taurus that my sister Gloria would drive. We'd work a full day. We'd be home about 1 or 2 o'clock. And I remember my sisters showering and then they were getting ready for their second job. So this was like very, very common for me to see my siblings go off to work. The part that I remember was there was never any complaining. And so seeing them work hard, I knew where we had came from, and I knew that this was something that they had to do. we are headed up to Lemoore. Lemoore is where we arrived in 1983 when we left Mexico in search of a better life and education, something that we didn't have in the little village that we lived in. And so we're going to go to Lemoore, and we're driving out to the garlic farms so that we could get footage of what it was like for us as kids working in the fields, helping our family survive those early years. One of my biggest concerns, or I guess in the back of my head as a father, is a lot of our siblings, there's 8 of us, we are real ambitious, like super ambitious. We're like, there's things we need to conquer, there's goals we're gonna set, and nothing really, we never believe that we can't obtain something, right? And so it's the ambition portion that I get scared about as a parent. Like, how do you teach ambition? And I believe the reason we're ambitious is because of our upbringing of coming from Mexico, having to work in the fields, not speaking the English language, and just having to work because, in our case, there was no safety net whatsoever. No safety net. We either made it or we didn't. And so because of that safety net, that's why I believe we're ambitious. So my biggest concern is, how am I going to instill that in my daughters? And so I think originally when the idea came up of capturing these pictures was for them to see it. For them to see it, and maybe for me to be reminded, but for them to see it. So I think that maybe I'm not really doing this for me, maybe I'm doing this for them.
When the summer time came, our village was completely out of water. So that meant there was not enough drinking water for us and not enough drinking water for the animals.